10 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, my father stepped into the groom's room and closed the door behind him. "I can't do this, Ethan," he said. I thought he meant he was nervous. Then he looked at my tuxedo and said, "I won't walk you down that aisle. I can't pretend I support this marriage." My chest went cold. Outside, nearly 200 guests were waiting. The music was about to start. Dad walked away without another word. I decided I would walk alone, but as the doors opened, someone touched my arm. "Ethan," he said softly, "you don't have to do this alone." Dad hadn't always hated Danielle. At first he called her polite and hardworking, but the moment our relationship became serious, something changed. My father Robert had spent my whole life planning my future for me. The right university, the right career, the right neighborhood. Apparently that included the right spouse. Danielle didn't fit the picture. She wasn't wealthy. She didn't have an impressive family name or a prestigious corporate job. She ran a small contracting business with her sister and worked with her hands. But Danielle was kind, dependable, and never made me feel like I had to earn her approval. Dad couldn't understand why that mattered more to me than status. "You could do better, Ethan," he told me repeatedly. "Better according to who?" He never answered that. When I proposed, Dad's disappointment became impossible to hide. He skipped our engagement dinner and barely spoke to Danielle at family gatherings. Still, when I asked if he'd walk me down the aisle, he said, "Yes. You're my son," he told me. "Whatever happens, I'll be there." I believed him. Then 5 days before the wedding, Dad came to my apartment alone. "If you marry Danielle," he said, "you're choosing a life beneath everything I worked to give you." I stared at him. "I'm choosing the person I love." Dad's expression hardened. "Then you're choosing her over me." "No, Dad, you're making me choose." He left without hugging me. I should have realized that was his warning. But even then, I never believed my own father would punish me on my wedding day. On my wedding morning, I convinced myself Dad would come around. By noon, the venue was full. Flowers lined the aisle. Music drifted through the halls. And Danielle was downstairs greeting guests. Dad arrived 20 minutes before the ceremony. I smiled when he entered the room. "You made it." He closed the door. That was when I knew. I meant what I said, Ethan. My smile disappeared. "Dad, please, not today. I can't walk you toward a decision I believe you'll regret. You promised me. I know, then keep your promise." He looked away. "I can't." For a second, neither of us spoke. I could hear guests laughing beyond the door. "You're really doing this." "I'm trying to protect you." "No, you're trying to control me." His face tightened. I waited for him to change his mind. He didn't, so I opened the door. "If you can't support me today, you should leave." He stared at me, almost shocked. Maybe he expected me to beg. I didn't. Dad walked out. The second the door closed, I broke. My mother wrapped her arms around me while I tried to compose myself. Then the wedding coordinator appeared. "Ethan, we need to begin." I looked at Mom. "I'm walking alone, are you sure?" "No, but Danielle is waiting for me, and I'm not letting Dad take this day from us." I wiped my eyes and headed toward the ceremony doors. The music changed. Everyone stood. My hand reached for the door handle when I heard footsteps behind me. Then a voice stopped me. "Ethan." I turned around. Someone was standing there holding out her hand. "You don't have to walk down that aisle alone." It was Marina, Danielle's mother. For a moment I just stared at her. Marina had never tried to act like my father. In the 4 years Danielle and I had been together, she'd always been warm but respectful, careful never to step into a place that belonged to someone else. She glanced toward the ceremony doors. I heard what happened. Embarrassment hit me immediately. "I'm sorry, Ethan, you have nothing to apologize for." She held out her arm. "I'm not trying to replace your father, but if you want someone beside you, I'd be honored to walk with you." My eyes filled again. "You'd do that?" Of course. I slipped my arm through hers. The doors opened. Nearly 200 faces turned toward us. I heard whispers immediately. Then I saw Danielle. Her expression changed from confusion to understanding, and her eyes filled with tears. We started walking. Halfway down the aisle, I noticed someone standing near the back. Dad, he hadn't left. He was watching another person do the one thing he'd refused to do. Marina never looked at him. She kept her attention on me. When we reached the altar, she hugged me, then shook Danielle's hand. "Take care of each other," she said. Then she looked at her daughter, "And remember, he's strong enough to stand on his own. Your job is to stand beside him." Danielle nodded. The ceremony continued. And for the first time that day, I stopped thinking about Dad. I married the person I loved. Hours later, during the reception, I was laughing with Danielle when I saw my father walking toward me. I expected an apology. Instead, Dad stopped in front of me and said quietly, "Do you have any idea how humiliating that was for me?" For a second, I thought I'd misheard him. "Humiliating for you?" Dad glanced around the reception hall. Everyone watched another woman walk my son down the aisle. I stared at him. "You refused." "Because I was trying to make you understand how serious this is." And I understood perfectly. His expression tightened. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means Marina didn't take your place, Dad. You left it empty." He went silent. For years, I had avoided conversations like this. I'd softened my words, changed subjects, apologized just to keep peace. Not anymore. You wanted me to stand behind those doors and choose between Danielle and having my father beside me. When I chose Danielle, you punished me. I wanted what was best for you. No, you wanted what you chose for me. Dad shook his head. You'll understand someday. I understand today. Loving me doesn't give you the right to control me. Danielle stood several feet away, watching but not interfering. Marina did the same. This wasn't their argument. It was mine. Dad looked around and seemed to notice the expressions of our relatives. Nobody was laughing at him. Nobody was attacking him. They were disappointed, and somehow that seemed to affect him more than anything I'd said. His shoulders dropped. I really thought you'd change your mind. So did I said, about you. That hurt him. I could see it. For once I didn't take it back. He looked toward Danielle, then Marina, then finally at me. I handled this badly. It wasn't quite an apology, but it was the first time Dad had admitted he might be wrong. He swallowed. When you come back from your honeymoon, can we talk? I looked at the man who had raised me, realizing our relationship would never be the same. Yes, I said. But if we do, things are going to change. Dad and I talked after the honeymoon. I told him I wanted him in my life, but not if loving me meant controlling my choices. He listened. For once, he didn't argue. Things didn't magically become perfect. Trust returned slowly through phone calls, dinners, and apologies that finally sounded like apologies. Marina never tried to replace him. She never even mentioned walking me down the aisle unless I brought it up. A year later, I received our wedding album. One photograph stopped me. Marina and I were halfway down the aisle. I was smiling through tears, and Danielle was waiting ahead. For months, I thought that picture represented what my father had taken from me. Now I see something different. Sometimes someone you love leaves an important place beside you empty, and sometimes someone unexpected quietly steps forward, not to replace them, not to erase the hurt, just to make sure you don't have to walk alone.